Hello. Now we're going to start discussing about the SOA grid and cloud computing. What are the services that are being involved in this grid, cloud, and all these type of architectures. So this is the most fundamental and basic part of the whole cloud computing that we are going to discuss. So basically, what is the common architecture that many of us already know? It's infrastructure layer, middleware layer, and resource layer. So, what is resource layer? It's hardware that is based upon silicon that is used for storage purpose, processing purpose. Then, thereafter, in the middleware layer, there's a medium of communication that how the input and output will work, how the request and response will be processed. So, this is middleware layer. And thereafter, infrastructure interface layer. Interface layer means front end, means the browser that you see HTML pages or application that you use or apps on Android and iOS mobile that you use. It's the interface layer. So how the interface are being developed, it's something front end, and middleware is something communicating between hardware and interface part. And then resource is fundamental ground level silicon and processing, computing unit, storage part. So that is resource layer. Then what is difference between URL and URI? So you know already about what is URL. That is www.google.com. This is a URL, and you put it on the browser and you surf the internet. Then websites are basically made for the humans, but the web services are made for the software. So software uses a different thing, which is called URI. So is being used by the web services. Then this is an example of web service. So you can find many web services links available, and web services basically uses HTTP for the transfer of some messages like soap based message over the internet. What how the soap based web service communicate? So we are discussing soap based web services. Later on we'll discuss restful based web service. So because soap based web service is easier to understand, so we'll first understand what is soap based web service. That will clear you the whole architecture of cloud computing, and later on we'll use and discuss restful based web service, which is little bit complicated and more in the trend of usage of web service. First, client requests a particular service with some input. For example, zip code it provides for the weather information. Then web server will process that web service and respond you that how the weather is working for that zip code, means pin code, you can say area code or something. Then the how the invocation and of web service goes in detail. So we'll discuss this in detail. So this figure actually gives you detailed how the web service works, and the similar type of things also happens with the RESTful web service. This is SOAP based web service request and response. The similar thing happens with RESTful based web service, but in the another way of architecture and different way of communication, like in the create, read, update, and delete crude operation happens in the RESTful web service. So currently we'll discuss SOAP based web service. So this is a sequence of web service invocation process, and the sequence should be known to you. So first, client discovers web service. Thereafter, after the discovery, client request that server where is that web service with some URI, and Client reads web service descriptive language WSDL, and then according to that web service descriptive language, it is interface. WSDL is an interface, and according to that interface, it tells you about what should be requested, means what should be the input and what should be the output. So according to that, you read it and program your code and provide a SOAP request. So SOAP request goes to the web service. Then the method is being invoked, means the input is gone to the logic, business logic of that web service. Then that business logic will be processed in the method invocation, and you'll get the SOAP response. And that SOAP response basically travel on the HTTP medium and get back to you as a client. I hope this architecture has been clear. So step 1 in this figure is where I can find web service. So you ask to the discovery service, then discovery service will tell you that web weather service is at server B. Then you ask, third step is basically how exactly should I invoke it. So it took it you take a look at this WSDL. So you take a look at the a particular web service descriptive language or interface, and thereafter the fifth step you request for with the SOAP request message, and you pass the parameter of that particular zip code, pin code to that web service, and then web service do the SOAP response with the weather of that zip code and pin code or the area code, whatever be there, and then you will get the response to the client, and you can see what is the weather. This is the step and sequence of web service invocation. So we'll come more into the detail and technical part. What is stub? So stub is the technical part that is a type of API that actually helps you do marshalling and unmarshalling of a particular web service. So stub is a particular type of API that handles marshalling and unmarshalling. So the marshalling also refers to the serializing, and unmarshalling also refers to the deserializing. So stub is like there is a client stub, there is a server stub. In the client stub, you prepare a source code. Server stub, you prepare another type of source code which was being prepared by the web service implementation. So the SOAP request, then marshalling or demarshalling. So first of all, client do the SOAP request with the help of marshalling and demarshalling. Marshalling means serializing of with the help of some particular API. Thereafter, this stub will be passed on the HTTP protocol, and then unmarshalling or deserializing of that SOAP request will take place. And then the SOAP response again be marshaled, and the SOAP response will be processed, means created. SOAP response is being created by the web service and marshaled with some APIs, and then again response will go to the HTTP protocol, and it will pass over this fifth step, and then again it will reach to the client, the and then client will do the unmarshalling of that SOAP response. So this in this figure, so WSDL will help you do the client stub, means it will tell a client that how to generate SOAP request and how to interpret some SOAP response by the server. WSDL also tells a server stub that how the server side SOAP request should be sent to the client, SOAP request is being sent by the client, and how that server should send the SOAP response so that the client could able to interpret. So this is client stub part and server stub part. All these things whatever we are talking about, these are programs. Stub and marshalling and unmarshalling are being done with the help of APIs. So in this figure, first of all, the client will write some program that will create a client stub, means a sequence of request in terms of SOAP request. Means are parameters, there are links for the web service, there's how the data structure is being there for the input, and this all been passed over the HTTP protocol in the internet, and it will go to the server, and then server will do the unmarshalling of that stub, and server stub will unmarshaled, and web service will start processing according to the parameters, and then this whole thing is being again created as a server stub, and this server stub will be marshaled and then be passed on the HTTP protocol over the internet, and again it will reach to the client, and client stub will be like SOAP response will be unmarshaled, and this unmarshalling of SOAP response will give you as output to the program, and this client will able to know what should be the response given by the server. So this is basically web service invocation engines or servers. So the most internal part is web service, and inside that web service there are multiple operations. Operations are basically atomic unit, and these operations, multiple operation makes a web service, and this web service makes a SOAP engine, and this whole makes a application server, and this whole thing makes a HTTP web server. So I hope that this architecture is clear to all of you. So these are means the most outer layer is of HTTP server of internet, and then application server, SOAP engine, web service. Thereafter, we'll discuss grid architecture. So earlier to the cloud computing, basically there's a technology called grid computing. From that grid computing, scientist or researcher engineer started modifying that grid computing, advancing that grid computing, and they started calling it as cloud computing. So first we'll discuss about grid architecture, which was published in 2008, that even earlier to that. So what they that time people used to interpret from the grid architecture. So in the grid computing, fabric layer is the topmost layer, it is to be said, which is have different type of resources such as compute storage, network resources, code repository. So whatever be the fundamental silicon level layer computing structure was there, processing and storage, so this is having the networking layer. So all these things have the fabric layer, and thereafter connectivity layer is there. So the in the connectivity layer means networking layer, communication authentication protocol for the ease and secure network transaction will take place. So that all has the connectivity layer. So it all defines communication and authentication protocols. Then thereafter resource layer, which actually defines a protocol, that how the discovery, negotiation, and monitoring, accounting, payment, sharing, and operation of the individual resource will take place. Thereafter, in the next layer, you have the collective layer that actually captures the interaction between collection of resources, discovery such as MDS, monitoring and discovery services. So these two layers, resource layer and collective layer, is little bit tricky and complicated in the grid architecture. So we'll see how these are being modified in the cloud computing architecture. Thereafter, application layer, that you all know, browsers, front end, app, apps in Android and iOS. So it comprises of user application built on top of all the protocols and using some API and operate virtual environment. So I hope this grid architecture has been clear to all of you. According to this same thing, we'll discuss the cloud architecture. So in the cloud architecture, they start saying fabric layer. Fabric layer is the raw hardware level resource computing, network storage, and all the things is same as of grid computing. Fabric layer is same. Thereafter, unified resource layer, they start saying. What is unified resource layer? It actually do the abstraction and encapsulation with the help of virtualization that we'll discuss later. And then it do the upper layer and user integration of the resources, which for some instances with having virtual computers cluster, logical file systems, database systems, all these things are the part of unified resource layer, and virtualization is the part of that. Then platform layer is basically the it's a specific tool middleware layer and having the service on top of all these resource for the development and deployment purpose. For example, you do the web hosting environment, scheduling some services. Thereafter, in the application layer, which contains the application which runs on the top of all the apps and everything. So this that is application layer. Then grid and cloud architecture is basically having all the layers are being influenced with the fundamental concepts of services. So this application layer is there in the grid protocol architecture. Application layer is the topmost, collective layer is there, resource layer is there, connectivity layer is there, fabric layer is there. So in the cloud architecture, you do the application platform, means this collective and resource layer are being merged together as a platform. So this platform as a service is started being calling as in terms of collective and resource layer. Thereafter, unified resource is replaced by the replaced for the connectivity layer. So this and fabric layer remains the same. So this was the article being published in 2008. Currently, this cloud computing and grid computing are even more modified later on. So this is the content from 2008. So in the older history, uh, you can see this type of vocabulary and this type of content available, and the technology are being same, but the vocabularies are being changed. And these layers are being same, but the vocabulary, jargons, and the technical terms are being changed. Thereafter, in the next part, we'll discuss about transactional, on-demand, and distributed computing.